Hello everyone, I welcome you all to my YouTube channel. In this lecture, we'll be studying about the single line to ground fault analysis. We'll be deriving the formula. Then we'll be understanding about the formulas that are mentioned in IEEE 80 for single line to ground fault and double line to ground fault, and discussing about the worst case. At the end, we'll be dealing with one of the examples of single line to ground fault with using the formulas that are mentioned in IEC 6909. Along with that, we'll be studying the formulas for cable impedance, that is the positive and the negative sequence impedance for the cable, and the zero sequence impedance of the cable in case the return is from both sheath and earth. These formulas are very important as you will be having only the manufacturer's data sheet. From that only you can derive the value of these formulas and use for your calculations. So let's go ahead and start. In single line to ground fault analysis, as previously discussed, in case of a balanced circuit, if you have a balanced circuit, that is IA, IB and IC, the magnitudes are equal and are 120 degree apart. In that case, there is only positive sequence current, there is no negative and there is no zero sequence. So in case of unbalanced, we saw that we have these three components. So if you have three components, then you have to solve for three circuits, for positive, for negative and for zero. Now we developed for a three-phase model. We converted that three-phase circuit into a single phase, as we know that in case of symmetrical, if we solve for only one phase, we'll be getting the current values for the other phase too. Like we solved for IA, we got the value of IB magnitude and IC magnitude and multiplied with the angle. Here also we'll do the same, as we have broken into positive sequence which is completely symmetrical. So we'll solve for IA only. In this case, point to note is that I have drawn EMF. This is suppose the generator, and I have drawn EMF only in positive sequence, whereas in negative and zero it is zero. There is no EMF source. Why? Because we have considered or we have assumed that the voltage is completely balanced. As the voltage is balanced, it will have only a positive sequence component, not a negative and zero. So let's start the formula. So first let's derive or make the model. In this, suppose this is your A phase, then it will be your impedance, and then there is an EMF, and this EMF in case of generator is your voltage, whereas in case of suppose a transmission line fault, this will be your pre-fault voltage. So this can be written as EAN, or it can also be written as pre-fault voltage. Just before the fault, what is the voltage? Considering the voltage is balanced, so it will be VF or EA. And this point is your neutral. Here neutral and ground is same, so this becomes your reference. Now neutral and ground is same because this is symmetrically divided. As it is symmetrical, there will be no zero sequence current or there will be no ground current. As there is no ground current, so even if there is a connection between this ground point and this neutral through an impedance, then also there will be no current flowing. That means these two surfaces are equipotential. N and G are having same volt potential. So this becomes your reference. And the current flowing in this is positive sequence, that is IA. And the impedance across these 2 points will be positive sequence voltage. Now in case of negative sequence, as you have only impedance left, and again in negative sequence also the current magnitude is same and they are 120 degree apart, so the neutral and the ground point voltage will be same. So again there is no, this becomes your reference and this is your Z2, and as there is no EMF, I have not drawn, and then this becomes your IA2. Then the voltage across these 2 points will be VA2. Now in case of zero sequence, here there is a twist. As in this case you will see that IA0 is there, IB0 and IC0, and from ground to the neutral there is an impedance connected, and through which there is ground current flowing or the zero sequence current flowing. Now this is thrice, as we have derived in the second lecture, that IA0 and IB0 and IC0 are having same magnitude and they are at zero phase difference, so they can be added. So this becomes your 3Ia0. So in this case, if you have to draw, so from A you go ahead and draw this Z0, or I will write this as Z0 dash, and from neutral you have to go to the reference, which is your earth here. In this case there is one more impedance, which is Zn, and then you get your circuit completed, and this will be your Ia0. Now one point to note is that from this point to this point, if you see the voltage drop, it is 3Ia0 into multiplied by Zn, whereas from this it is only Ia0 Z0 dash. So from here to here it is Ia0 Z0 dash, but here it shall be a factor of 3 shall be there. Now current is Ia0 as they are connected in series. So what we can do, we can write 3 here in order to make this voltage drop equal. So that's why I have written 3Zn. Now let us suppose there is a fault. Let us suppose this is your 3 A, B and C three phase, and from line to ground there is a fault, and the fault impedance is, let us suppose, ZF. For IB, if you see, there is no current flowing, and IC also towards ground there is no current flowing. So let us assume IB to be 0 and IC also to be 0. So all the current flowing is to feed this fault, and this is your IA, or you can call it IF. Now you will see, we have studied in the previous lecture about the impedance models, or about the matrix that we saw, the relation between zero sequence, positive, negative and their phasor currents. So it was through this matrix equal to 1 by 3, 1 1 1 1 A square, 1 A square A, and here it was IA, IB and IC. Now here there is only IA flowing, there is no IB, as IB is 0 and IC is also 0. So if you have to write Ia0 in terms of Ia, how will you write? It will be 1 into Ia, 1 into 0, 1 into 0. So this becomes Ia plus 0, that is Ia, and outside it is divided by 3, so this becomes Ia by 3. Similarly for Ia1, you will again multiply and you will see Ia plus 0 by 3, again this value will come. So for positive sequence also the same value. Again for negative sequence also you will see 1 into Ia, A square, 0, A, 0. Again you will get this value. Remember that A here is e to the power j 2 pi by 3. So we have got all the component currents like positive, negative and 0, all are same. Now one more point we can see, if we draw for a voltage source, suppose this is VA, VB and VC, and if we have to write in positive, negative, zero sequence components, we will write by using this matrix. We also saw this matrix in my previous lecture. So this becomes your VA0, VA1 and VA2 negative sequence. So if you write for VA, it will be VA0, that is zero sequence, VA positive sequence plus VA negative sequence. So you are adding all these three, and VA, if you see here, this is your VA voltage here, so it is fault current, that is IA into ZF, or IA you can also write as 3 times of IA0 into ZF. As you can see from this equation, you can write this value 3 times of IA0. So this becomes your drop. Now if you see from this point that all the currents are same, so if you have all the currents same, that is only possible in case of series. If you connect these circuits in series, if you connect this with this, then the current flowing from here to here shall remain same, as they are all connected in series. So IA0 is same as IA2 is same as IA1. Now between, if you add these voltages VA1, VA2 and VA0, this is your zero sequence voltage. So if you add these three, then you will get VA, and that means you have to add these three, you have to complete the circuit, and to complete the circuit you have this impedance connected, that is ZF. Normally we take this value as 0, but you have suppose this impedance connected here, and this impedance which is VA. So this is also VA between these 2 points. This side is also VA, and if you see across these three, again it is VA, because this is the summation of these three, phasor sum of these three. So we have connected this circuit, and this is ZF. Now as IA naught is only flowing, as the current flowing is only IA naught in the circuit, that is zero sequence current. So again we have to multiply by 3 in order to keep this potential same or the voltage drop same. So if you solve for this value of current, that IA0 we will solve, we will apply Kirchhoff's law, and we will see that there is one voltage source here. That means on the top it will be only EAN, or you can write VF also. And this, remember this is the phase to earth voltage or line to earth voltage, not line to line. Then you have these impedance in series, Z1, 3A, ZF, then this impedance, zero sequence impedance, and this is Z1. So this becomes your Z1 plus Z2 plus Z2 plus Z0. Now why I wrote here Z0 dash is because if you take the complete impedance, this becomes your zero sequence impedance. Normally this Zn is 0, we normally earth the transformer or generator end or wherever it is, source end, solidly earth. But sometimes in order to reduce the value of this current, we try to add a resistor in series, as I explained in my first lecture. But let us suppose this complete summation is Z0 plus this 3ZF. Now this what you have got is only zero sequence current. This is not the fault current. Fault current will be 3 times of this zero sequence current. So you have to multiply by 3 in order to get the value. So I hope you are clear with the derivation. Now we'll check what is mentioned in IEEE 80 and what is mentioned for line to ground and double line to ground fault. The standard I've used version is 2013. In this, clause 15.3 suggests the formula for double line to ground fault as this zero sequence current as the voltage, and this is your negative sequence current, negative sequence impedance, that is R2 is the negative sequence resistance and X2 is the negative sequence reactance. Similarly, R1 and X1 are resistance and reactance for positive sequence, and R0 and X0 are the impedance for the zero sequence, or the resistance and reactance for zero sequence impedance. Now this 3RF is what we saw ZF earlier, the fault impedance. Generally we take it as 0, and also this standard also suggests in order to be on safer side you take this value as 0. That's why I have put a cross here. Similarly for single line to ground fault, the formula is same what we got. This is positive sequence, this is negative sequence, and this is the sum of zero sequence, and this is the fault impedance. Generally we again take this as 0. Now which one to take, which one will come higher? Either you solve both and check what is the result coming, or what you can do in order to save time, you can refer to this clause, that is 15.8 of IEEE 80, which suggests that this relation, if Z1 times Z0 is greater than Z2 square, that is negative sequence impedance square, then the single line to ground fault is the worst case. Then you just need to solve for this one, no need to solve this big equation. Or if it is reverse, then the double line to ground fault is the worst case. You can further simplify this. If positive sequence and negative sequence impedance are same, then the relation becomes zero sequence greater than positive sequence, then this is the highest. If the reverse, then the other one. Now if we go and check for the example, this example we have seen in my first lecture. We saw that there is a source. Suppose there is a fault on this is your station, and suppose there is a fault. From here the current will be flowing. Some current will flow through the earth, and some current will flow through this sheath which is earthed on both the sides, and then this current will enter here. Now as this is solidly earthed, the impedance taken is 0. That's why I told initially, in case this Zn here is 0. That's why mostly this Zn is generally taken 0. Now if you check for the formula, that for as per IEC 60909 for the short circuit current, the formula is root 3 C being the voltage factor. This voltage factor value is mentioned in table 1 of IEC 60909, and this here is your voltage. This voltage is line to line voltage. Remember previously I told line to earth, here it is line to line. Then Z1 plus Z2 plus Z0, assuming that Z1 of the transformer is same as Z2 of the transformer, so it becomes twice of Z1 plus Z0 impedance, that is zero sequence impedance of the transformer, plus as here there is a transformer zero sequence impedance and there is a cable also here, so we'll have to write for the cable also. So again, assuming the cable impedance positive and negative are same, so again it will come twice Z1 dash for the line or the cable plus Z dash zero sequence impedance considering sheath and earth return. Now Z dash is per kilometer, then we have to multiply with the length of the cable. Now this source is having a transformer, this is a secondary side, so this transformer is 31.5 MVA with 110 kV on the primary side. I have drawn only secondary, which is 10 kV, and the percentage impedance is 12%. As we previously saw, this is the formula for calculating the transformer impedance, and considering this as completely reactive, I have written as J 0.381 once you solve this by putting the values. As we are dealing only with 10 kV side, so I have put here 10 kV. Now if you check for this cable has a cross section area of 3 into 150 square mm, which is aluminium conductors, and the sheath is of copper, which is having a 25 square mm cross section area. Now as I told you that some current will be flowing here, so this some current will be reduction factor times the fault current. Either you can write it as fault current or you can write thrice of IA0, which is actually the fault current, and here the current that will be flowing will be 1 minus R. This R will be the reduction factor, which I will help you derive in the next lecture, times the I0. Now if you check, we have got this value. Generally the relation between ZT1, that is the positive sequence, and zero sequence impedance of transformer is given by the manufacturer. It lies between 0.8 to 1. Generally this is the value. You can take 0.8 as worst case, but normally it is 0.9 what I have seen as per my experience, but generally this value is there. Let us suppose we are taking ZT0 equal to ZT1 equal to ZT2 in order to simplify the calculation. I have taken all three same, so we have got these three values, which is J 0.381. Now we are left with cable values. How we'll do, we'll check in IEC 60909-2. there's a formula for, there's a direct formula. We shall have this manufacturer's data sheet from the manufacturer, in which the cross section area of aluminium is 150 square mm, which we have taken, and this is the radius of the conductor, which is 6.91 mm, and this is the resistance of the conductor, aluminium conductor, which is 0.206 ohm per kilometer. Similarly for the shield, the values are this. Here RS is the sheath radius. Sheath is generally the outer sheath, the metallic sheath, not the PE sheath at the black one, just before that the armor and the lead alloy sheath. This has a radius of 23.6 mm, the outer dia being 53. This will be your outer dia, which is the black part or the outer covering. And then D is the distance between the two cores, which is 22.38, and the resistivity is 100 ohm meter, and these are the values, and mu is 4 pi 10 to the power minus 4 Henry per kilometer. In case of meter, it is 10 to the power minus 7. Now if you can pause the video and check this formula, and you just need to substitute these values in this formulas. Here one extra thing is this skin depth or penetration depth, earth penetration depth, which is governed by this formula, that is 1.851 square root of resistivity by omega mu naught, and you will get the per kilometer value. This is for the positive sequence and this is for the zero sequence. So as we got all the values, we got this value, now we have all the values. UN is 10 kV and C as per this table is 1.1. So if you substitute these values, you will get the current to be 6.55 kiloamps in case I take L to be 1 kilometer, and in case L is taken 5 kilometer, the value comes out to be 1.71 kiloamps. You can try solving this using your scientific calculators or Excel. Please remember these values. In the next lecture I'll be using them for the reduction factor. So I hope you enjoyed this lecture, and please subscribe to my channel, and God bless you all.